Hello, my name is Joshua Wogman, and today I'm going to be doing a presentation called A Treatise on Climate Change. So, beginning with observed evidence, there is in fact a positive correlation between CO2 levels and global temperature. This is a fact. There are many different sources that can confirm this, from ice core samples, from the growth of trees based on their growth rings, and also from stones. There's also archaeological and geological evidence of large-scale climate change and continental drift. We have fossil samples of life that should not have been able to exist in the climate of the area that it's currently in, which indicates there is either a large-scale climate change, a continental drift, or both. There's also historical evidence from countries in Europe and Africa, which shows that there have been hotter periods and cooler periods in Earth history. Now, there's also some natural factors that can explain this. There's CO2 that's trapped inside of the Earth's oceans, so as the Earth warms up, the CO2 ends up getting released, which would explain the natural reason why the CO2 levels tend to correlate with Earth's temperature. There's also volcanic eruptions, especially those with a volcanic explosivity index of greater than or equal to 5. If you take a list of all of the explosions that are greater than or equal to 5 and plot those against CO2 levels, you'll see that there's a positive correlation there. There's also solar cycles. The sun's own cycles can have effects on Earth's geomagnetic sphere, which can create geomagnetic storms that can affect Earth's temperature. There's also Earth's axial tilt and precession, which is what creates the seasons. So as you can see, there's many natural factors here that can drive all of this. Now, there's also human factors. The Industrial Revolution began in 1760 and ended in 1840, during which time we burned a lot of coal. Just past this, consumer automobiles started to become popular in 1908, and CO2 levels increased before temperature change for the first time in the 1970s. So it's at this point that we started to realize that we are having a measurable impact on the CO2 levels. Now, all projections based on our simulated models this far have been proven incorrect, which is a good thing in my opinion. Now, that's not to say that there aren't looming dangers. The climate will change again. This is inevitable. We've shown that this is a periodic natural process. And so relying on green energies is a bit dangerous because green energies rely on optimal climatic conditions. A hydroelectric power plant doesn't work as well when the river freezes over. When it gets cold out, the wind power also doesn't work as well. And if the skies are dark, solar power doesn't work as well. The materials needed to store energy are also rare and need to be extracted from mines. So the process of creating and refining and manufacturing all of these things also does some environmental damage. Now, also, regressed or decaying energy infrastructure could put us at a severe disadvantage. If the climate does change, or rather when it does change, if we've scaled back our energy consumption and relied more on these green energies, and then these green energies end up not being able to support the population, there's no telling what kind of damage it could cause. And there's also the fact that there could be loss of crops and breakdown of transportation, which can end up leading to global food and resource shortages, which could then lead to war over resources. This isn't just skepticism. Such things have actually happened in the past. We used to have wars over fertilizers like potassium nitrates. Now, some personal opinions on this. Climate change is a threat regardless of whether or not you believe that humans are a driving factor. But preventing it is a lost cause. It's a natural process. Even though we may contribute to it to some extent, we can't prevent it. And degrading our energy structure is dangerous, especially in a time right before the climate is expected to change. So what I believe is that we need to diversify our energy resources. The more backups, the more redundancies that we have in our energy grid, the better off we will be. And protecting nature and wildlife is still necessary because we still are at high risk of resource depletion. We entered economic overshoot in the 1970s. We're highly overpopulated at the moment. So we definitely should be concerned with all of these things. But anyway, that's all I had to say, and thank you for watching.